Is it me, or did somebody install a new fuel pump and then put a sending unit back on it? Okay, the new sending unit's been slid into place. And I took an ohm meter and checked it and made sure it didn't drop out through the whole range of motion. I had to pull this connector down. Then you pull a little red bar up and shove these new terminals up in the center. Polarity doesn't matter. Kind of had a shorter wire and a longer wire, and I put a shorter one to the inside just for clearance issues. Then shoved the red bar back down in the inside of the plug to lock it down. Lock all the plugs down, then plugged it back into the module. Be sure and verify that that chip works through a whole range from 40 ohms to 250 ohms. Once I install it, I'm going to check it again in these center pins to make sure that it's reading right. And wow, a float on a fuel pump, imagine that. Be sure and put a new O-ring underneath of the fuel pump and put it on your fuel pump before you drop it down in there. The fuel pump has an alignment notch on it here. Has an alignment notch up underneath the head of it. It goes in this notch. The way the vent and fuel lines lay will help you out, and then make sure it settles into that notch. You want to pull this vent line up out of the tank where you can keep a hold of it so you can snap it back onto this nipple. I'm just using a fabric bungee cord to hold this vent tube up. I've laid the O-ring down in this track for the set-in. You gotta watch your float. Insert it first. I took a yellow pen and I marked an alignment mark with this slot. So the slot on the pump is here. And I'm going to put another alignment mark with this vent tube that line hooks to on top, so I know where it's at, which is pretty much underneath the end of the fuel tank pressure sensor. This has a little trough to help guide this plastic pipe up in it, because it's such a tight fit. I'm going to turn it and get the float around it. Go ahead and take this bungee cord on. I'll lock this vent back on. it's engaged. I'll put a mark on the tank or the hold down ring on one of the risers on the hold down ring. I'm going to go ahead and snap this line down a little bit, the vent line into the tank. It's aggravating. Let's check to make sure the O-ring's where it belongs in its track. Center the pump up as much as possible. And check your alignment mark with a slot. And just kind of push and twist it down on the flat areas on the top of the pump. Be sure and twist your pump till it goes. Look underneath there and make sure the pumps went down flat. Or it's not aligned right, or it's crooked. Okay, this O-ring looks good. Okay, I've checked the O-ring all around and the fuel pump's set and level. Now I just need to turn this ring right there. Now if you got your pump down right, this ring should start in without no effort till it hits these alignment bumps. And then you'll have to use preferably something brass or plastic or hard aluminum. But I'm going to use just a blunt chisel because I don't have any gasoline out, and since the pump's down against the seal, I don't smell any fumes, so I should be alright as far as any sparks. And once the tank's sealed up, it can't ignite anyway. But that's how it's starting with a bump. And what we're going to do is drive those bumps under each notch to the center notches. Just starting in to one right there. So I'm going to hit this ring on each side opposite where you hit it the first time and stay out of your lines. Hit it pretty robustly. Be sure not to damage your high pressure line. And not to damage your gas tank. Keep all your sharp objects off the gas tank and just on the metal ring itself. And at an angle that'll spin it and not run into it and into the center of it. That's it. Center your ring with all of the bumps so that they're all underneath the notches. See, they're now underneath of these, right in the center of this, all of them. None of them's past it. They're all right in the middle of it. That way you know your ring's pretty centered. Of course, you can kind of look at the gap around this. Make sure the gap's the same all the way around, but it should be good to go. Now I'll take an ohm meter and test these pins and make sure that they're reading ohms still. Since it's empty, it should read 250 ohms in the center pins. The center two pins. Close enough, 249. So it will work now. The two outer pins are the power and ground for the fuel pump. And plug it in. Slide your lock. Check it out. It's good. Pressure sensor. It's locked. Snap this line back down. Okay, pressure line, wire harness. Hook the vent line back up to the canister. Line from the car goes here, car body. Snap this line back in for the high pressure fuel. Looks good. So got the vent line, got the high pressure line, got the plug in business.